Are looking live at Giants Stadium in the Meadowlands, where the New York Giants take on the New Orleans Saints in a game that should mean everything for the Giants and their playoff hopes, but because of a quirk in the tie-breaking formula, the outcome of today's contest will not determine New York's postseason fate. Win or lose, they do not control their own destiny, but it's been a winning year for the main man. He is the reason why the Giants have been a winning team. Phil Simms. He is having the finest season of his career in professional football.
And I'll be looking at the big story off the field this week in the NFL, the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. Will they stay in Philly, they're home for more than half a century, or will they soon be singing that old Glenn Campbell song, By the Time I Get to Phoenix?
And what about New Orleans? That's another franchise that's been considering a move to another city. So where will the...
Is sponsored by Pontiac. Cars built with a feel for the road. Pontiac, we build excitement. Radio Shack, your Christmas electronics store. And by AT&T Computers from AT&T Information Systems, when you've got to be right.
Frank Lieber along with Dick Vermeil. Welcome back to the Meadowlands. Saints leading it, but the Giants knocking on the door. They have a 3rd and goal to go from the 14-yard line. And the Saints going with a nickel defense, have an extra defensive back in Bobby Johnson. By the way, Terry Hogue, the former Georgia All-American, is also in that secondary. Here's Simms. Steps up in the pocket, in trouble behind the line, and is buried by Frank Warren, number 73. 4th-year man from Auburn. And that will bring on the field goal unit for the Giants.
That's Frank Warren's 3rd sack of the year. Now, here he is, number 73, right out there on Brad Benson to the right of your screen, working one-on-one. Everything looks great right now. Protection good. He had to hold on to the ball too long. Therefore, he gets the sack. Give again the credit to the coverage. Frank, you should never take a sack when you're that close to the end zone. Throw it into the end zone and go ahead with a shorter field goal.
Here's Ali Haji Sheikh. High snap, gets the kick away. 32-yard attempt is good. So the Sheik, who had hit 11 out of 12 prior to the St. Louis game last week and then missed a couple field goals, including a close one from 33 yards, puts the Giants on the board. 7-3, Saints. 37 yards in the field goal. The Giants ready to kick off to the New Orleans Saints. We're at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. And you're looking at Jitter Fields, who is back deep along with Tyrone Anthony. 7-3, Saints leading. Fields bobbles it, has it under control at the 5, 15, 20, flag down, across the 30, 40, and near midfield. But they'll take a good chunk of that back.
Frank, I hope we have a shot of that penalty call. I don't believe, from the angle that I looked at it, that it was a penalty.
Well, it negates an awful long run back, the old blocking from behind above the waist.
So what else is new? It didn't look like it from this angle. Now, the official number 17 who called that would be Jerry Bergman.
Illegal block in the back, number 92. First down.
Now, instead of getting the ball near midfield, the Saints instead will have the 1st and 10 from their own 9, and Jitter Fields got to be a little disappointment after a great run back, which is negated.
Well executed return. Good wall set up, good timing, good lane created by good blocking. Too bad it was called back. Hard to execute him that well.
Earl Campbell still on the bench looking on. George Rogers been running the ball awfully well in the first period for the Saints. Goodlow in motion, the handoff, Gaijan. And Hokie is belted at the line of scrimmage and then drilled back a yard or two. His progress may net him a yard. Gary Reasons, 55, and Byron Hunt, number 57.
Frank, the guy that made the nice play there was big old Curtis McGriff at 280 pounds. He stuffed Calvin Clark at the point of attack and allowed Jim Burt, the nose guard, to come over and polish it off. When the defensive line of the Giants playing like they did on that play, they're darn tough to make a living on running against. There's old Curtis.
He came to the Giants 3 years ago weighing 308. And Bill Parcells told him, no way you're going to play for me. On 2nd and 9, Rogers. Taking a lot of punishment as he crosses the line of scrimmage, gets out to the 15. Bill Courier, number 29, on the big hit. As an old coach, you kind of like to see that, huh?
Oh, I tell you, when a safety comes up and makes a play like that, I hope we get to see this. Now you're going to see the ball tossed to the tailback. Now you're going to see the strong safety come from the right corner of your screen. He's forced outside. Now watch the strong safety come right here. Boom! Right there. Bill Courier, not that big, fine football player, as Bill Parcells told us yesterday. He really put the pad to him. Look at that. Good form, helmet up, shoulder pad into him. Good, clean shot.
He's missed a good chunk of the season because of injuries. 3rd down, 5. For the Saints at their 14, Wayne Wilson is the man in motion. Wilson back to throw it. Dave Wilson completes the pass to Hobie Brenner as Lawrence Taylor that time fell down.
They were having a little juggling match there, trying to cover that man-to-man, and he just beat him to the inside.
19-yard pickup on the play and a 1st down at the 33.
Hobie Brenner is a tight end who plays the fullback position in that nickel offense. Here he comes back to the inside. Now you're going to see him real tight together. Then you can see him trip and fall down. Now old Hobie's going to get nailed right there by the defensive back, helped by Terry Kennard, number 43.
Brenner played his college football at Southern Cal. Been an excellent pro tight end. Good low in motion. From the 33, Rogers looking for some running room. George said yesterday he wanted to carry the ball. He's getting his wish so far today.
He said, I like to carry the ball. I like to be sore on Monday. And then I like to have the opportunity to run as many yards as these other great backs, or so-called great backs, do.
Again, it was Courier with a big play on the tackle.
I think it was a strong safety blitz. See 29 right there? He's coming right now. It's a strong safety blitz on 1st down. He comes in, gets in on the cutback tackle. Nice job by Bill Courier.
2nd and 7 for the Saints at their 36-yard line. Harvey in motion, comes another blitz. Intercepted. Picked off by the New York Giants. Oh! Harry Williams on the interception. Lawrence Taylor tried to throw a block for his buddy and about wiped out a good portion of the Saints football team.
I'd say he did better than try. I'd say he was very effective. Grade him an A on that one.
So Perry Williams, the rookie corner, 7th-round draft pick a year ago from North Carolina State, creates the first turnover, and the Giants will have a 1st and 10 at the Saints' 48. Timeout. Interception.
Where you're going to see the right corner, number 23, play short as the safety inside is going over to help him, back him up so he has freedom to attack this slant pattern. He just dissects the ball, takes it away. Now watch him get up and become a ball carrier. Now Kennard's starting to rally, say, nice job. He forgot he can run. Now watch, coming right there. Oh, nice block. There's Perry Williams. He did the job, but did Lawrence Taylor do the job?
1st and 10 for the Giants at the Saint 48. Sims has it tipped up in the air and almost intercepted. Tony Elliott, the nose tackle. Of course, turnovers, that has absolutely murdered the Saints this year. They have turned it over 40 times. That is their 28th pass interception as a team, and they are way, way low in the league stats.
Well, they're actually minus 19, meaning they turn it over 19 more times than they've taken it away, which is last in football. And last year, at this time, they'd only turned it over 8 times. So you can see that's been a major problem.
2nd and 10 for the Giants at the Saint 48. Sims sending Joe Morris in motion. Here they come. Sims out to deliver it early. Moat, great juggling catch by Zeke Moat. You talk about concentration. With an all-pro Ricky Jackson draped all over him. Great concentration.
Talk about concentration. As you said, Frank, you'll see the tight end crossing right there in the bottom of your screen. Now follow the ball. Zeke, number 84, reaches up right hand, bats it to the left hand, gets it to both hands. Jackson, 57's wrestling. He could care less about his body. He wants the football. He is a football-playing dude.
He is indeed, and that may be as good a 5-yard pass completion as you'll see all year.
He earned it.
3rd and 5 for the Giants at the Saint 44-yard line. Sims back to throw. Down the far sideline, and that should be good for the 1st down as Tony Galbraith came into the lineup, the former New Orleans Saint running back on on the receiving end of that pass from Sims. First down at the 30.
Galbraith is right there to the left of your screen. He's coming out of the backfield, just working for first down yardage. He lays it out to him in the flat. He's one-on-one on Whitney Paul, 51. He beats him to the outside. Nice play, well executed. Good protection. Had all the time in the world, Frank.
Excellent protection. The official spotted at the 31. There's Galbraith. Remember, he was drafted the same year as Chuck Muncie. They played in the backfield together at New Orleans. Tony went on to Minnesota, came to Brad Van Pelt trade. Carpenter takes the handoff to the 25. Rob Carpenter dragging about 5 Saints with him and has got the first down at the 18-yard line. You tell me this is a meaningless football game.
Now watch this. Here you are playing linebacker, fans. Your number 52 is coming right at you. You're working inside. You go make the tackle. Can you make it? Doesn't look like anybody in New Orleans wants to. He runs right up through the hole. Look at the second effort by everybody right here. They're working it downfield. New Orleans better rally. Here they come.
Little Lionel
Wasn't that a great
Manuel
shot?
almost got caught in the meat carpenter, in the meat grinder there is Carpenter.
Frank, that gives you the feel, and it gives you the look at what it means to play linebacker right there.
First down, Giants at the 18-yard line of the Saints. Still on his feet and taking a few folks with him is Joe Morris.
This guy's not very big, but he has powerful legs, well built, good speed, and a tough runner. Now watch the quarterback is going to reverse, get it to him deep. You're going to see a fullback kick out right there. He's turning up inside. Chris Godfrey, number 61. Look at him fighting for those yards. Poe finally gets him on the ground.
The officials mark it at the 15. That's the time left in the first half. It is second down 7. New York Giants at the Saint 15-yard line. Saints leading 7-3. Blitz, Whitney Paul. I believe he had him in the grasp.
I would say that, Frank. I was looking at the coverage downfield, and I didn't see what happened protection-wise.
Well, when no one touches you, it's a lot easier, isn't it?
When that happens, then there's a mental mistake. There's a mental breakdown when you turn an outside linebacker loose like this. Boy, and I'll tell you, I've seen many quarterbacks get decked much more viciously than that hit right there. That is tough when you can't see him coming. Evidently, a mental breakdown in a protection call.
So Whitney Paul with a free shot at the quarterback, Phil Sims, decks him for a loss of 11. And that sets up a third down and 18 for the Giants at the Saint 26-yard line.
That's his second sack of the game already. Second sack, giving him 9.5 for the year.
Sims has hit 5 out of 8 for 41 yards. Again from the shotgun. Sims feels pressure. Lets it loose. Should have been caught by Byron Williams, I believe, down at the 5-yard line. I think he's got ball-repellent hands.
Well, the other thing, he used his hands improperly. When the ball is down that low in your body, you ought to have little fingers together, thumbs up. He had hands down, and that actually, you end up pushing the ball to the ground.
Well, it mattered little because Sims was beyond the line of scrimmage, so it goes as an illegal forward pass, and they would have brought it back anyway.
Illegal forward pass. Number 11.
That away. Get the number right there.
5-yard penalty.
Look on your shirt.
Lost it down. Fourth down.
Just check the number on your shirt, Fred, and you got the number of the quarterback.
Right there. You know, as a coach, sometimes you're sitting there and you know there's a penalty's been called, and you're all upset as a coach. You're having a fit, and then they call the number of a guy, and he's not even on your squad. You know, oh, does that make you hot?
Again, Ali Haji Sheikh.
I think the coach is getting upset. How far is this, Frank?
This is a 48-yard effort.
He's only 5 for 11 this year from this distance.
He hit the 37-yarder. This has got the distance. It's good. However, there's a penalty.
Oh, that guy. That
Holding against the Giants. Wipe it out. And the Sheik is a little sick about that because when you hit a 48-yarder, you want to keep it.
You're darn right.
And you're the field goal kicker.
They called holding on the left wing back, I think in this case, Lawrence Taylor. You know something, Frank? You could call out about 50% of the time a ball is kicked.
Number 56, fourth down.
Your squad, you know, oh, does that make you hot?
Again, Ali Haji Sheikh.
I think the coach is getting upset. How far is this, Frank?
This is a 48-yard effort.
He's only 5 for 11 this year from this distance.
He hit the 37-yarder. This has got the distance. It's good. However, there's a penalty.
Oh, that guy. That
Holding against the Giants. Wipe it out. And the Sheik is a little sick about that because when you hit a 48-yarder, you want to keep it.
You're darn right.
If you're the field goal kicker.
They called holding on the left wing back, I think in this case, Lawrence Taylor. You know something, Frank? You could call that about 50% of the time a ball is kicked.
Number 56, fourth down.
Well, the Giants, you recall, after their last first down, were at the 18-yard line. Now the penalty yardage will march them back to their 41. And that changes the entire complexion of things. And from a field goal posture, they're now in a punting posture. And Jennings comes in.
Jennings is going to try to drop this, I think, inside the 10-yard line or go ahead and try to kick it out of bounds, one or the other. He has been very good in the past of laying that ball inside that 5-yard line.
Jeff Groth is the D-back for the Saints. Aims it for the far side. Coffin corner.
Nice job.
He did a beautiful job.
Nice job. That's the all-pro type punter right there.
Out of bounds at the 5-yard line. See if we can pick up the holding here.
Coming off the left side of your screen right now. See Taylor now right here. I tell you, you have to call that, I guess. He just reached out and grabbed him and pulled him down. Good call, official. I have to give you one.
The Saints 7 and the Giants 3, but the Giants have had, well, 9 points now, lost on penalties.
They have. One going in to score on the off-tackle play and then that field goal.
Great punt by Jennings. Puts the Saints back on their 5-yard line. Rodgers out to about the 8 for a pickup of 3. Still haven't seen any of Earl Campbell so far. Rodgers gone all the way at the tailback position. Bring you up to date on college basketball on CBS. Coming up right after this one, you couldn't have a better matchup. The Georgetown Hoyas, who've beaten everybody this year by at least 20, and DePaul, they're ranked number 1 and number 2 in the country. And that'll be on immediately following the conclusion of our football game here at the Meadowlands. Happens at the Landover, Maryland, the Capitol Center. 2nd and 8 from the 7-yard line. Rodgers tries the left side. Out to about the 10-yard line. Jim Burt, number 64, and the ever-present Lawrence Taylor, number 56, on the stop.
This was prototype all-pro linebacker play. Look at him right there. Boom. Hands on him, working inside out on the play. Has full control of the tight end. Right there, number 84. Works back out inside the play and stuffs it. Good linebacker play. Excellent linebacker play by Lawrence Taylor. Of course, you expect that of Lawrence Taylor.
Well, you know, he started off great this year, but Parcells indicated he wasn't real pleased the way he's been going the last month or so.
Playing well right now, but he controlled Junior Miller real well on that play.
3rd down and 6 for the Saints from their own 9-yard line. Need the first, or they're going to have to punt out of the end zone. Dave Wilson looking long, goes down the sidelines, and we get a flag. Another marker is thrown as the intended pass receiver was Wayne Wilson. Kenny Daniel was back there with him, the young man we talked about prior to the start of the game, who's replacing the All-Pro Mark Haynes.
I think that's the 4th penalty this official's called this game. It's number 17 right there. He's having a field day today.
You think they get paid by the penalty sometimes?
Sometimes I think so. I don't know what he saw.
Offside.
He saw pass interference is what he did against the Giants. That's the indication
Pass
given by Fred Wyatt.
Number 30.
Nullified.
Offset. 3rd down.
Look at Bill. What do you think he said?
You tell me.
Oh, heck, he said. Oh, heck.
Oh,
I think you're wrong, sir. Say, he can get fired up. When he gets fired up and his motor running, that whole football team gets fired up. I'll guarantee you.
It'll be 3rd and 6 as they bring it back. Growth in the slot off to the right side at the bottom of your screen. And on 3rd and 6. Wilson going for the tight end, and good defense by Lawrence Taylor as he slapped that away from the intended receiver, tight end Hobie Brenner. Taylor is pumped up.
He is fired up. He's playing well. He's playing like he has the ability to play. Now watch Lawrence Taylor right on the tight end right there. Hobie Brenner, 56. He's crossing over. All right, he's chucked him right there. Now he has to release him. He has to get his hands off him. Look, he moved right in. Should have intercepted the ball. Nice job, though, by Lawrence Taylor on Hobie Brenner.
It means that the Saints punting from 5 yards deep in the end zone, and Brian Hansen, who is the NFC Pro Bowl punter as a rookie.
New Orleans Saints is the worst in football in covering punts, so they're last in the league.
Manuel at the Saint 45 to the 40 and dives forward to the 37-yard line, so the Giants come out in excellent field position with 6 minutes and 18 seconds left to play in the first half. 35 on the punt, 8 on the return. We've got a timeout with the Saints leading the Giants 7-3. Is upon us. The Sun Bowl comes up first on CBS. That's this next Saturday. Maryland Terrapins and the Tennessee Volunteers 1 week from today at 3 o'clock Eastern Time. And then on New Year's Eve, a traditional Peach Bowl battle. This one this year, Purdue and its opponent, Boston College Eagles, against the Houston Cougars. Purdue and Virginia, right? Here we go. Doug Flutie, of course, will be in action in that New Year's Day battle, and that should be worth the price of admission. Dave Jennings looking on wearing the mitts. Giants 1st and 10 at the Saint 37-yard line, and Sims sends Morris up the middle side the 35 to about the 34-yard line. Tony Elliott, number 99, on the stop. This telecast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the written consent of the New York Giants and the National Football League is prohibited. 2nd and 7. Nose of the football just inside the Saints' 35-yard line. Joe Morris in motion. Sims puts it out there for Moat. Out of bounds at the 3. 1st and goal, Giants. Again, Ricky Jackson back there with him.
Now watch Zeke Moat, number 84, come off there. He's on. Ricky Jackson, number 57's got him all the way to the corner, which is really asking too much of a linebacker to take him that deep. He beats him to the corner, gets it right there for the touchdown. No, excuse me, not the touchdown.
Not just down to the 3 for the first down as he went out. That's Phil Sims, and that's his reaction when he saw Zeke come down with that ball.
Boy, that's tough coverage, Frank.
1st and goal from the 3. Giants trying to take the lead. Morris over the left side to the 1. And it'll be 2nd and goal from that point. Terry Hogue coming up from the secondary, number 24, assisted by Whitney Paul, number 51 on the stop. A lot of new faces on this Giant team this year. Parcells has done an excellent job of integrating 19 new players on this roster. And they can go 10 and 6. Still not assured of a spot in the playoffs. 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line. Morris. Maybe the 1, but no further than that. Dennis Winston.
Good linebacker play, good fundamental tackling technique right there. He put him down.
Well, they're going to mark it back at the 2, so it's going to be 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line.
Frank, now you have to decide, am I going to take 2 downs to score, or I'm going to take 1 down to score and then go for the field goal? And that's the decision has to be made on the bench.
Well, that's what Parcells has done, and if you were down there right now, what do you think you'd do?
I think right now I'd think 2 plays to score. Now, maybe that'd be wrong, but that's what I think. The last game of the year.
3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. Sims wants to throw for the touchdown. Carpenter hit at the 1-yard line, does not get in. Strong defense. Jim Kovacs, number 52, was over there and nailed him at the 1. No question what the fans want to do.
Well, if you're going to take 2 plays to score, you're usually better off to run it. Now, see the play action fake. The fake to the running back. The onside back goes out. Morris gets a nice block. Here he is, but good play by Kovacs, number 52. A nice play for a doctor, right?
Dr.
Pretty physical
Kovacs.
doctor.
I would say so. there as Jim Kovacs came up with a touchdown-saving tackle. Timeout called by the Giants to discuss the next play. They'll have a 4th and goal coming up from the 2. Parcells has made his decision. He's going for it on 4th and goal from the 2. What do you think?
That doesn't surprise me. I think I'd go for it. What surprises me is the 3rd down call. I think I would have tried to run the ball and end up, if I didn't make it, with 4th and inches rather than the 4th and 2. This is long yardage down here.
4th and goal from the 2-yard line. Giants trailing 7-3. Sims handoff. Morris trying to get outside. He does not get in. So a great job on the goal line by the New Orleans Saints. Whitney Paul, number 51, ran him down.
Super defense by the linebackers. Just look at the linebackers now. Watch them. They're going to a little pressure up inside with the safeties. Now watch the linebacker spin out there. Right, number 51 spun right off. Now Poe, 25, turns him back inside. 51 works back out there and makes the play. Whitney Paul. Here's another angle now. See, Whitney Paul, number 51, they're wanting to run up inside. The running back bounced outside because of the good linebacker play, and then he ended up making the play himself. Good job of playing outside linebacker, especially when you come out of a 3-point stance.
Looked like he needed a block there from Carpenter. Didn't get that ball.
He got the block, but the play was supposed to go up inside, but the blocking broke down inside, so he had to go outside.
Saints from their own 2-yard line as Wilson hands it off to George Rogers, who'll take it to the 4. There's been so much discussion over this Rogers-Campbell situation. A lot of people think that Bum Phillips may have mortgaged a good portion of this club's future by trading a number 1 next year from Earl Campbell.
Well, whenever you give a number 1, you're giving up a lot, especially from a number 1 pick. You normally think, in terms of coaching, that I'm going to get at least 10 years of service out of that number 1 pick. And Earl Campbell, as great as he is, does not have 10 years left.
Well, I don't know if Earl's got that many years left. Now, Dave Wilson, he gave up number 1 for Wilson. There's a number 1 for Richard Todd. Giants defense risen to the occasion. Leonard Marshall doing a good job. Stuffing the ball carrier for a yard loss of the play. That's the time left of the first half, and the Giants would love to get their hands on the football once again in good field position, which they made.
I still go back to that 3rd down call. You know, that really hurt them. On that 3rd and 2, they're going for the 6, but if they were thinking in terms of 2 downs, it's sort of, you know, sitting up here is great. I don't make a mistake. That's right. I'm really bright up here. It's really great. I haven't made one all year, huh?
Well, you've been down there where Parcells is. You've had to make them.
And I've made
down
more
there, too.
I guarantee I made more mistakes than that guy did.
Saints have a 3rd and 8. They're on 4. Dave Wilson in the end zone. Sideline throw. He's got a receiver. Growth. Out to the 30 and out of bounds, they say, at the 31-yard line. But that's a first down for the Saints, and it gives them some much-needed breathing room. Terry Kennard, who was shaken up earlier in the game, came on to make the stop.
Quarterback, they pick up the stunts up inside. The quarterback rolls to the outside, seeing it. Now they have a short pattern there that pulled the coverage up there. And then Gross, number 86, gets deep on Terry Kennard. And he's trying to get him down right now. Go ahead, bulldog him. There he gets him down.
Well, Gross isn't fast or anything. All he does is get open.
I got a kick yesterday. Weber, go on.
1st and 10 from the 31-yard line. Rogers always ran into his own man there. Had to avoid Wayne Wilson, who's in the backfield with him. And by the way, Wilson is playing because Oki Gaijan was shaken up a bit earlier. But he is expected to be back. Leonard Marshall making the stop.
Yesterday, Frank, I asked Jeff Gross, how fast are you? He said, Coach, I'm fast enough.
That's all that counts, right? So we run to the 2-minute warning. There's the whistle. And the official notification will go to the benches. 2 minutes left to play in the first half here at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, with the Saints leading the Giants 7-3. And it's all preceded by the NFL Today regional coverage, and a good many of you will see that St. Louis-Washington game. Couldn't be a more important ball game than that, could there?
Boy, it's going to be a great football game. St. Louis is going to have to play a little better run defense than they did last week if they expect to win it. But they have the offensive tools to put points on the board. It'll be a real good football game.
Winner wins the division, the NFC East. If the Cardinals lose, they are not only out of the division championship, but they're out of the playoffs. So it's all there for them. Redskins can still make it as a wild card. In fact, they should have it made unless something very strange happens. 2nd down 9. Dave Wilson underthrowing Wayne Wilson, the intended receiver, at the 50-yard line. Pressure.
He was under a lot of heat now. Here's the quarterback. You see everybody's coming after him. Blue jerseys. He steps up. Watch him step right up underneath there. He gets right up in it. There comes Lawrence Taylor, 56, coming underneath it. And did he give him a tap? Mr. Taylor. His motor runs pretty good, friend.
The LT Express is what they like to refer to him. He hasn't had a good second half of the season, but I think maybe you heard somebody say that.
He's getting ready for the playoffs.
So getting his motor running again. 3rd down and 9 with the Saints at their own 32-yard line. A minute 55. Flags down. Dave Wilson in big trouble back at the 15-yard line. And again, Taylor, number 56, right in the middle of it, along with George Martin, number 75.
Jerome Salley was there as well, number 78. They call offsides?
They called a... Well, let's see what they call. There's a marker down.
Offside, number 71.
That's the reason the Giants got there that fast.
Casey Merrill. I'll tell you, the penalties right now in this ballgame are killing them. That sack would have been worth a lot to them if they'd have been able to get that yardage, that negative yardage.
That's the difference between being ahead and being behind as the...
I'll tell you, there's a big difference between 3rd and 4 and 3rd and 18. Even I
Giants
can
have
figure
had
that out.
9 points taken off the scoreboard. 10 if you want to, assume an extra point after a touchdown. Opie Gaijon is back in there.
Giants are screwed up.
3rd and 4. And the Giants going to call time. A minute 50 left to play in the first half. Saints ball 3rd and 4 at their own 37 when we come back right after this. Welcome back to the Meadowlands, Giants Stadium. Season finale for the New Orleans Saints and the New York Giants. And right now, Saints have the lead and the ball on a 3rd and 4 at their own 37. Wilson in motion. And Dave Wilson back to throw it, looking for Wayne Wilson, overthrows it. Should have been intercepted by Bill Courier, number 29, the strong safety. Hit him in a bad place.
Real good double zone coverage. Actually, Wilson should not have thrown this ball because that safety down there. See him sitting in the middle of your screen? Courier, he's just watching the quarterback and has that outside half of the field. Real nice play by Courier, but he should have intercepted it. Here he is right at the end. He goes up for the ball, but it doesn't get his hands around the ball. It comes off his shoulder pad. Incomplete interception.
Brian Hansen in to do the punting. So the Giants will get one more turn with the ball with about a minute and a half to go. Lionel Manuel signaling for the fair catch at the 25-yard line. 4.59 on the hang time, according to Mr. Vermeil's handy little watch. Timeout. And Merry Christmas to all of you in the Meadowlands in New Jersey. We'll be back in a minute. 26-yard line with a minute 37 left to play in the first half. And the Giants own one timeout. That's what they have left here in the first half. Manuel to the left side. Byron Williams in the slot at the bottom of your screen. And Bobby Johnson split to the right up at the top. Inside handoff. Going to Galbraith. Tony Galbraith trying to make something out of it. Gets across the 30 and picked up 7 or 8 yards on the play.
Good second effort on his part. Just kept those feet pumping and working upfield. Frank, we saw him go through this 2-minute drill on the field yesterday. You call the next play.
How about a pass? Sims looking over the middle, hits Bobby Johnson, and he is wiped out by Kovach. Jim Kovach. The doctor may have to do a little treatment of the patient here.
He's going to be an orthopedic surgeon. I'll tell you, I don't know if I'd go in his office. He's liable to deck you.
A little forearm shiver.
Watch this shot right here. Here he gets it up. He gets it tucked away. Boom, that looks like a fumble. That looks like a completion and a fumble. Nice play by Jim Kovach. And regardless, that receiver's got to be able to hang on to the football.
There's the good doctor. Played his college ball at Kentucky. He's yet to go through the residency and the whole thing, but he's got the MD.
He's going to play football for a few more years before he goes through residency. How do you say that? Residency?
Residency. Even medicine doesn't pay as well as pro football does these days. Bobby Johnson shaken up for the Giants. Coming up at halftime, and keep in mind we're just 1 minute and 11 seconds away. We'll have a preview of that big game tomorrow between St. Louis and Washington, and your old friend Joe Gibbs will be with Brent live. He'll be in Washington, of course, Brent in New York, and I'm sure Brent will give you another rundown of the playoff possibilities, which ought to take up the rest of halftime.
I don't know if there's another coach in football that's done a better job than Joe Gibbs over the last few years. Maybe Walsh is in that, and Chuck Knox, you'd have to say those three guys have done as good a job or better than anybody else in football.
I think you got to give the 49ers a lot of credit for the way they played last night, with really nothing at stake and the Rams having everything to play for.
Well, remember, in doing their game out there last week, they wanted to win that 15th game because nobody else in the league had done that. Here's Bobby Johnson. He's sort of sucking it up right now.
We were talking to Parcells yesterday. He said this guy reminds him a great deal of Drew Pearson, who happens to be in the stadium today.
Yeah, down there doing the radio side. I don't want to sound critical or anything like that, but a receiver has to hang on to that kind of ball. That should be caught and held, because it was in there before contact, you know, and going through their mind as they're crossing the field, they know they're going to get hit as soon as they get, you know, catch the ball, so it's no surprise. They just got to get it locked up and tucked away quickly.
Third down, Giants need 2 for the first down at their 34-yard line. 1 minute, 11 seconds left to play in the first half. Saints leading 7-3. Long touchdown drive on their first possession of the game, and that's been it. The only touchdown. Sims in trouble. Whitney Paul is after him. Out to Galbraith at the 30, 35, across the 40 to the 45. He's got the first down. Again, it was Kovac who made the stop. Clock continues to move on the Giants. First and 10 from their own 45. Sims. Flutter ball over the middle. Stops the clock at least. Whitney Paul with the big rush. Paul has been everywhere.
Frank, maybe you saw there a running back try to cut block on number 51, Whitney Paul, and he jumped right over the top of him. I really don't believe you should try to cut a linebacker very often, because athletes like this guy, Whitney Paul, hurdle you, and then they get to the quarterback. You're better off butting him right up underneath the chin and fighting with him.
But if you're half their size, you wind up with footprints all over your chest.
No, that's not true. Good fundamental technique by a running back. They can block the linebackers, especially a guy the size of Tony Galbraith.
Second and 10 for the Giants at their 45-yard line. Clock down to 40 seconds left to play in the half. They'd like at least to get 3 points out of it before intermission. And again, the big rush. This time it came from Jim Wilkes, number 94, the right end. And they got a piece of Sims' arm just as he was about to deliver the football. Sims now is 8 out of 14 for 83 yards and has been trapped 4 times for a loss of 26.
You know, and getting sacked that much, that's off their average, because they really haven't been sacked that much all year. They have 48 sacks for the season.
Saints have been the people having problems protecting the passer. Third and 10 from the Giants' 45. Sims with the rollout right. This time he's got some protection. Sideline throw intended for Manuel. Would have netted him the first down, but Dave Waymer, number 44, was over defending for the Saints. And the Giants will be punting with 31 seconds to go. Waymer, one-time Notre Dame star, in his 5th year, the most experienced defensive back on the Saints roster.
He's knocked a lot of balls down, you know, just by getting in there. Not a lot of interceptions, but he has knocked a lot of balls down. In fact, this year he's knocked down 28 coming into this game. That's a lot. I think that's more than I've recognized any other corner doing this year.
Jennings to punt. Growth is deep. Last one, he knocked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Fair catch signal by Growth at the 15. That's where the Saints will put it in play with 25 seconds remaining in the first half. 40 yards on the punt by the veteran Dave Jennings in his 11th year. Jennings still knows how to try to get that call, doesn't he?
Yeah, they can call a penalty on overacting in these situations now. Now watch him. Oh, you hurt me. Down I go. Boom, I've been shot.
Now he's going to go to the sideline, tell Bobby Johnson, I really got hit out there, right?
They do call that now, you know.
I know that. But Johnson is barely walking around on there in the sidelines after being decked by Kovac.
I think there's a picture of a coach right there. It's a little upset. I don't think he feels the squad has played as well as he anticipated them playing.
And I imagine he might let them know about it here in about 25 seconds.
He's a very direct man. There's no way to misunderstand what's on his mind. Good communicator.
Saints with a 1st and 10. And we get a penalty marker. Yet another flag with 20 seconds to go. As Rogers, on his 11th carry of the day, picks up short yardage. Harry Carson, number 53. Harry Carson made the Pro Bowl this year, and I think it surprised even Harry a little bit.
You know, in talking to him on the field yesterday, he said, Coach, you know, I'm pleased I made the Pro Bowl. I've been there before, but I voted for other people. And he said, I really think Jim Collins from the Los Angeles Rams deserved it more than I did. That shows a lot of class.
Well, he's been there before and maybe had better years.
Number 60. First down.
You know, in 1981, when they were a playoff team, at this time of year, he had 196 tackles. Today, coming into the game, he has 107. So maybe his year hasn't really been a true Pro Bowl year, but it shows class when he knows it and recognizes a colleague in the league that's had a great year.
And a lot of times you make that Pro Bowl, it's awfully hard to get off it, right? Even the subpar year guys get voted out from habit, particularly linemen.
They remember your name.
Holding call takes
There's
the
that
Saints
play.
back to the 8-yard line. Your favorite play, huh?
That play should be outlawed. They should outlaw that play in football. See, the fans don't even like it. Boo! We all boo up.
So time running out here as the Saints with that long touchdown drive on their very first possession of the day. And the Giants answering with the 37-yard field goal by Ali Haji Sheikh. And that's been the extent of the scoring. That is the end of the first half. With the score, the Saints 7, the Giants 3. Dick and I will be back shortly.
Unusual game being played in the Meadowlands in that the Giants' chances to get to the playoffs cannot be affected, but they are certainly affected by this one tomorrow on CBS. The Giants need a win by the Washington Redskins over the St. Louis Cardinals, and of course the Cardinals have to win it or they will not be in the playoffs either. And with us now live from the Redskins training camp is their fine head coach Joe Gibbs. And Joe, when I was down, of course, John Riggins was back in the hospital, is back in traction. How is he? Will you have him available to play tomorrow?
Well, Brent, he started off the week. Our first day of practice was Wednesday. He came out, looked things over, and was watching most of the things. We hoped he could practice Thursday. And then Thursday morning, woke up, his back was getting worse, and he really felt like he'd be better off going back to the hospital. That's the best he had felt when he was in the hospital. Put him back in the hospital. He's in traction for 2 days. He's back out today, and we walked through some things with him. I think he'll start. How he's going to feel, I don't think any of us knows. We've been living with this all year. Games he feels real good. Some games he doesn't feel as well. Some games he started and played 2 or 3 plays and couldn't go any farther.
All right. Joe, if you'd look at the monitor, we have a couple of tapes, perhaps ugly reminders, if you will, of what happened the first time you played the Cardinals. Their defense here closing in on Joe, and then the combination of Lomax to Roy Green. The Cardinals won that 26-24. I've been told, Joe, that the Cardinals have excellent talent. Do you find the team that way?
I think they've done a great job of building their club, Brent. I think it's paid off. If you take a look at them, on their stats and on their offense, they're right at the top of the league. They're, you know, in almost all categories. They're ranked 3rd, I think, in the entire NFL. Much higher than us. They're very talented, big play capabilities. All their receivers have been to the Pro Bowl. You know, they're outside receivers, and then their running back and also their quarterback now are going to be Pro Bowlers. Now, on defense, they've done a great job there. And, of course, special teams, we felt like in that game, that's one of the few games where we felt like that we were, that somebody played better than we did on special teams with Stump and everybody over there. It's going to be a real battle for us. We feel like it's super important for us because in order for us to win this, and really a week off means a lot to us. Get a chance to rest John and everybody else. It would be so important to us. We're going to have a tough time if we can't do this.
All right, Joe. Good luck tomorrow. And again, that game will be here on CBS. It is the Cardinals and the Redskins playing for the Eastern Division title. About 30 minutes from Coach Joe Gibbs, there's a big college basketball game about to start. That is DePaul, Georgetown. Billy Packer is standing by, and Billy, Georgetown is ranked #1. How about the Blue Demons? Can they stick with them this afternoon?
Well, a lot's going to depend on Kenny Patterson, Brent. It's going to take a guard that can get his team in the game in a half-court offense, and he's really the story for fans to watch at the beginning of this game.
Now, take a look at your monitor, Billy, because here we have kind of a half-court attack being used by Georgetown. They work the backdoor play.
Well, they do this so well because everybody's so concentrated on Patrick Ewing that when the ball goes into him, heads turn. And, of course, in that particular case, David Wingate was able to go backdoor in the old blind pig play.
Now, you know, their fast break is withering just like it was a year ago. Watch Billy Martin get them started here with the rebound, and look who finishes up for them.
They have tremendous quickness at every position on this team. You can see Billy Martin, one of the most underrated players in the country, hitting out, and people talk about Patrick Ewing's ability. There's no big man that's played the game that can run the court any better than Patrick can.
I'll tell you, this is quite a matchup, Billy. Can you remember two teams 1 and 2 ranked like this coming together this early in the season?
Well, there was Kentucky, North Carolina a few years ago, but I don't think we've had a team like Georgetown since the UCLA days, Brent, when we've had a defending champion that has all their muscle and firepower back. This is potentially a very awesome collegiate basketball team.
All right, Billy, we look forward to hearing from you on that game a little bit later today. DePaul and Georgetown coming up next. And the NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations. And the biggest story off the field in the NFL this weekend is the status of the Philadelphia Eagles. Will they stay in Philly or are they moving to Phoenix? Now, a few minutes ago, Philadelphia Mayor Wilson Goode and Eagle owner Leonard Tost resumed negotiations. And earlier today, I talked to Mayor Goode, who made it quite clear how determined he and his city are to prevent the Eagles from leaving.
We have a lease at the stadium with the Eagles that will run through the year 2001. We intend to take every legal step possible to enforce the terms of that lease. And I would say that if we lost a team, we will immediately try and find someone else around the league to come to our city.
Now, the threatened move of the Philadelphia Eagles to Phoenix promises to set off another long and costly battle in the law courts, like the one that is still being fought between the NFL and the Los Angeles Raiders. But in my judgment, the legal disputes do not go to the heart of the matter. More than anything else, what's at stake here is a question of ethics and principle and a fundamental sense of loyalty. And I, for one, totally embrace the view that professional football is more than just a business enterprise. An NFL franchise should be obliged to adhere to a different set of standards than a steel company or a textile firm that moves its operation to greener pastures. For the owner of an NFL team has a responsibility to more than the pursuit of profits, because whether he likes it or not, when a businessman or a woman buys a football team, he enters into a social contract with other members of the community. Such a franchise succeeds and thrives solely on the support of the fans. And in most NFL cities, the fans have kept up their end of the bargain. But Al Davis betrayed that trust in Oakland, Robert Irsay betrayed it in Baltimore, and now Leonard Tost seems on the verge of betraying the loyal fans in Philadelphia. When I interviewed Commissioner Pete Rozelle on the NFL Today last Saturday, he said that one reason the league did not want to pursue a merger with the USFL was because the NFL wanted the freedom to select its own kind of owners. I neglected to ask Rozelle then, but I'm asking him now if the kind of owners he had in mind were men like Robert Irsay, Leonard Tost, and Al Davis. At the same time, there is no reason why Phoenix or Indianapolis should be deprived of having an NFL franchise. Or, to refer back to the Raiders situation, there is no reason why Los Angeles should not have been given another team after the Rams moved south to Anaheim. But the way to fill those voids was not to lure traditional NFL teams away from well-established cities and markets such as Oakland, Baltimore, and Philadelphia. The answer to the needs in Los Angeles, Indianapolis, and Phoenix lies in expansion. And I believe the pro football product is strong enough and has wide enough appeal to sustain another surge of expansion into those cities, and perhaps others as well. And that is the positive alternative to the relocation of established teams. What about the future? Well, if the musical chairs jumping around from one city to the next continues unchecked, it has the potential of destroying the very fabric and identity of the National Football League, as we have come to know it now over the years. Right now, let's go back now to Giant Stadium, and here's Frank Gleaver with Dick Vermeil. Frank?
I want to ask this man a little bit later on about that Philadelphia situation since he's been there before. We'll save that for the second half. Let's talk about what happened here in the first half and what we might expect. Of course, penalties, critical penalties have killed the Giants here.
Well, taking away a touchdown and a field goal and probably the extra point, but I think what's hurt them most is their pass protection is breaking down much more than it has through the season right now. New Orleans is doing a better job of rushing the passer than the Giants are doing in rushing their passer.
Well, Sims have been sacked 4 times. On the other hand, Dave Wilson has not gone down once, and one of the things that Bill Parcells told us yesterday, we got to get some heat on this guy.
They're not getting the heat on him, that's all. He's been sacked, and of course one sack was called back with a penalty. They've got to get more heat on him, and I think we'll see the whole tempo of the ballgame pick up in the second half.
That Saints offensive line looks like it's coming back together a little bit now, doesn't it?
Well, they now have their 2 starting guards back from the start of the year, in their left guard Edelman and their right guard Oubre, and in the center Mr. Court playing there. So they're solid in there. When those 3 guys are all healthy, they're very good.
For a meaningless football game, they are knocking the tar out of each other, and I'm sure they'll continue you in the second half as well. 7-3, the Saints leading the Giants. Back with the second half kickoff in just a moment.